We're now going to talk to Sir David Davis, who's a leading Tory MP, who's been running an extraordinary campaign which has a lot of support with GB News viewers and listeners to prevent our boys, and women of course, who served in Northern Ireland during the Troubles, facing potential criminal prosecution.
David, tell us about this petition and what you want to happen next.
Good morning, Miriam. Lovely to see you again. The petition's now crossed 180,000. I think we'll get it over 200,000 before it shuts down. So if anybody hasn't signed, please go onto the parliamentary website and sign up. What's plain is that we have won the public argument. This is about soldiers who fought in Northern Ireland, operated under yellow card rules. There's a special rules to keep everything they do within the law, operated under judicial oversight. Everything they did was looked at afterwards. And now all of a sudden, because of the sort of last knockings of the peace process not being resolved properly, we find ourselves with those same soldiers, heroes, many of them, being dragged back to court, or facing the risk of being dragged back to court in their 60s, 70s, 80s even, to face charges that will never end in prosecution, never end in conviction, because this is too long ago, and anyway, the issues were resolved at the time. But all for politics, all to basically appease the Sinn Féin Northern Ireland apologists for the IRA, and to appease the Irish government. All of these things, our government is sacrificing our soldiers to those political ends. That's the basic argument. And as I say, we've won every argument. We had a debate in Westminster Hall. It was the most packed Westminster Hall I've ever seen, indeed anybody's ever seen. We had really, really strong arguments from many, many Tories and others who had served themselves, told what the story was really like, and a few rather weak sort of whips handout arguments from some Labour members who frankly looked embarrassed when they were making the argument. So, we won the public argument. The question is trying to make the government actually do something about it.
So, David, you must be in contact with some of the veterans who may potentially face prosecution. What does it feel like to go for decades with that hanging over you, knowing that you've served to the best of your ability? Of course, warfare and these kind of operations are never clean, they're never smooth. But what does it feel like to know that there is a possibility of that, even as these men go in late into their lives in their 70s and 80s?
Well, I'd say two things. I mean, I saw a few of them not that long ago in Hereford, and these were not soft characters, but they were clearly distressed by this non-stop sort of Damocles hanging over them, if I can mix my metaphors. But the other thing I'd say is they feel betrayed. They feel that the government, who they gave absolute service to, put their lives on the line. Some of them died in Northern Ireland. Let's not kid ourselves. Hundreds of soldiers were killed in Northern Ireland. They put their lives on the line, and then in their retirement, they're betrayed. And that's terrible for them. But it's also terrible for today's soldiers. I mean, if you're about to go out and do some difficult operation, and as you say, in the fog of war, and then come back and in 20 years' time, having served your country today, in 20 years' time, you're going to face lawfare in your old age, well, people are not going to sign up. Or if they do sign up, they're going to resign rather than take on anything which is remotely difficult. And, we have some of the best soldiers in the world, certainly the best special forces in the world. And it would be a great victory for the enemies of civilization if this revisiting of the Northern Ireland Troubles ends up destroying the retirements of, frankly, our military heroes.
And David, of course, it's very one-sided, isn't it? Our military figures face the spectre of prosecution, but because of the deal Blair did as part of the Northern Ireland Agreement, IRA terrorists, gunmen who brutally mowed down people who were innocent, killed many of our soldiers, they've got a lifetime pardon.
Yeah, and that's right. And nearly 2,000 people were killed by them. And the thing to remember, the thing that was so annoying for the soldiers was this finding that some of the killings in one of the battles were unlawful. That's the phrase they used. Every single killing by the IRA, and for that matter, the UVF and the UDA. Don't forget there were terrorists on the other side too. Every single one was unlawful. Every single one was a murder. And these people pose as soldiers. They talk about the East Tyrone Brigade and the Armagh Brigade and so on. They did things that no soldier in the British Army certainly would ever countenance doing. Murdered their prisoners, tortured people, blew up civilians, women, children, only for the sake of getting publicity for their cause, not for any military aim. These are things no soldier in Britain, indeed most of our allies, would do. And yet they're now trying to suggest that decisions made in the heat of battle, while you're being shot at by somebody else, maybe after you've been blown up, in the case of Loughgall already, this is somehow illegal. It's not. It was actually them doing their job and, frankly, saving lives, because it was only the intervention of the military that brought to an end the massive, almost genocidal killing spree that the IRA and its antagonists went into in the early parts of the Troubles.
Well, Sir David Davis, thank you for joining us this morning, and good luck with your campaign, David Davis there. I do think that's